Hi everyone, welcome to Digital Innovation. You don't know this, but this is the third time I record this video. The first one, my microphone was not on. Second one, the camera was not on. And so I'm here trying to record for the third time successfully. So let's go to unit number 3. We're going to be talking about dominance and time of entry. So the dominance when a company tries to develop their product and they are the innovators, they are the first ones, what are the hurdles that they're gonna find and what are the benefits they're gonna find for doing that. So we also be looking at what is the best time to get into the market. So I'll try to be louder today. So first let's go to the learning effects. Okay, so the learning effects again is this ability that has the companies to learn from what they are doing, whether they are doing something right, as the ability to record everything that they are doing right so that they can emulate that success in future projects. The same thing when they are doing mistakes, record those mistakes, see what is the problem and try to fix it, and of course record it, same thing, to use it in the future. The learning effects also involve using the money that you're generating to reinvest and improve that technology. We also have the learning curve, and in the learning curve we have that when companies do a certain product, the more they do it, the more the expert they become into something. I think there was a saying that if you do something 10,000 times, you will become an expert on it, and that is precisely what this is talking about, right? So again, in this absorptive capacity is, and that, I mean, like I said, this process of making it so many times leads us to the absorptive capacity, which is I learn, I document it, and I keep it for the future so I can use it in the future, right? The problem with many companies is that they make mistakes or they do properly the things, but they don't record them, and so that all knowledge is lost. They cannot use that information, that knowledge in the future, and that's very bad. That absorptive capacity is low. Most likely the company will make the same mistakes over and over again. Now let's go to network externalities. So how likely will, like, give me a second. Wow. Okay, now it's working. So network externalities, we have how likely will be the diffusion of a product depends on the number of users that it has. This is the word of mouth, and that it means that when consumers see the value, they will spread it. And of course, the more this innovation or this technology spreads, the more likely that the users are going to be using it. Here we have, for example, the use of Netflix in Korea, or which I will explain in the slides itself. Or we can see, for example, the use of Uber. The use of Uber, firstly, people were a little bit reluctant, a little bit hesitant to use it, but the more people start to use it, the more profit they generated. The more profit they generated, they started to reinvest in better services, in better GPS, in better software, in better engineers, and of course now, I mean, I cannot say that Uber is at its top now, but I mean they have already reached a level of performance that is very high. So that, for the same reason that many people start to acquire this software. Now, let's talk about the technology value. So in the technology value, we will talk about the stages. So first of all, how would people acquire a certain technology? So firstly, it goes with the process of purchasing. They will look for options in terms of acquiring a certain new technology. They will look at the pros and cons. They will look at this innovation and see whether it suits their needs, how it's going to be delivered, how they're going to use it, whether there's any additional supplements to it, whether is a standalone, is just the technology itself, or has something to add on that adds better features, the maintenance, if it breaks, whether this technology or this innovation has something that I need to fix, and the disposal, which is how am I going to throw it away. So this is a case, for example, of the electric batteries on Tesla. Nobody has thought about it, what's going to happen in maybe 20 years when the batteries don't work. How are we going to dispose them? Yeah, electric cars are on the boom, but in the end, nobody thinks of the implications. The same thing happened with the technology of plastics nowadays. In the beginning started as a great thing, now we're struggling with it, right? So anyways, 6 utility levers, so that they are considered. So in this case, we can think of, let's say, the example of coupon, right? This technology, this innovation is booming now more for the same reason that it's productive. It helps you to save time in terms of going and purchasing. It's simple because with a couple clicks you can get your things done. It's convenient. There's little risk because your information of your credit card is well covered. The same thing as the deliveries are somehow safe. Fun is, this company is not fun, but in terms of image they are well regarded because they are a responsible company. And finally, the environmental friendly, which actually is something that they don't touch that much on. To be honest, all these delivery companies, they are not too environmental friendly. Well, I don't know, there's mixed views on that. Some say that delivery companies, because they deliver many things at the same time, their carbon footprint is lower. I don't think so. I think actually they spend more money, more gas, more fuel, but I don't know, it's different points of view. Now, first mover advantages. What happens when you are the first one to develop a new technology? So when we look at companies, here we have, for example, the case of Nintendo. When you think of video games, Nintendo is the first company that comes into your mind. Or when we think about online dating, Tinder. When we think of transportation, Uber. So all these companies have already settled their brand image. People is loyal to them, people use them, and they have majority of the market share. So those are the advantages, right? So the same thing, they secure important resources such as the key locations, if they have a physical store, government permits, because the government still don't know what is this product about. Perhaps they grant it, but after a while, like for example the case of Airbnb, there were government permits, but after a while they realized it was not a good example. It was not a good, it was tackling on the hospitality industry, and they started to complain, and that was a big issue, right? Then we have access to distribution channels. Same thing, how you're gonna distribute. You are the first mover advantage. You secure those resources, and you can say, well, I'm the only one be supplying this thing. So yeah, you start to get also the suppliers initially, but you have to develop them too. But that means that you're gonna create a monopoly because you have the strongest power. The same thing like Microsoft. Microsoft is a very good example of this. They first move, all the computers have Microsoft. Everyone is using Microsoft PowerPoint or Word, just now example. And yet, at some point of time, competitors start to complain and start to sue these companies because they are monopolizing the market. So the case of Microsoft, they have faced a lot of problems legally because they say that they are monopolizing the market. Now, disadvantages. So I mentioned, yep, you want to be the first one, you're going to be the monopoly, and because you created a monopoly, you can set the prices that you want, you can set the suppliers, you control the suppliers, you control the market, so pretty much the market is yours. The problem is that, first of all, for being the first one on the market, you have to spend a lot of money, research and development, not only money, also human resources, physical resources in general, and that is a problem. You have to create also the supply and distribution channels. In the case of the electric cars, who is going to supply for you, who's going to set the infrastructure for charging, etc., etc. So all these complementars are not there, and that's why people is reluctant to get an electric car. They say, if I go from Seoul to Busan, how am I going to make sure that I can make it all the way there and there's going to be a charging point in the middle of the way? So that is an issue, right? So those are the issues of, this is a great technology, but you don't know if it's going to be useful. And that is precisely the uncertainty of customer requirements. As they say, like, consumers are not really whether they are going to be satisfied with this product. Now, Let's go to the time of entry and the factors affecting it. So we can see that there's the first movers, early followers, and late entrants. So that means first movers, they spend a lot of money, they gain the majority of the market share. Sometimes the product is not superior, it's good enough, it's there, but they were the first ones, so people remember them. Early followers come at the later stage in the party, but they come with a superior product because they are using already the knowledge that the first mover implemented, and of course they may have a much better product. And then we have, of course, the late entrants, and they may offer value in different ways. Perhaps they can produce at a cheaper rate, like Huawei in this case, for example. They produce smartphones with all the functions at 1/3 of the price of the other premium ones that pretty much they offer the same. And people say like, no, it's a Huawei, so this phone is not that good. Go and try it, and you will see. No, but in the end, they are producing at 1/3. And for people who or markets that are interested into buying cheaper phones, they are a great alternative. So, what are the factors affecting when is the best time to enter the market? So you have to think. I know already the preferences of the customer, so this is the right time to enter the market because I know what they want. I can enter the market now because my innovation is radical, so it's something completely new. I know if I enter right now, it will be a breakthrough and people consume it, or I'll wait until people is more familiar with it, with the functions of a certain thing, right? Also, we have to wait as a company if there's already enabling technologies. Like I said, well, I want to enter the market of augmented reality. So then I have to wait until 5G is fully developed so that I can really go into it and show all the full spectrum of this technology. Then we have complementary goods influence the value of innovations. In this case, do I have the complementary goods? When I was talking about Coupang, for example, the application is great. The problem is that this application can only work because of the supply chain. They are using a lot of technology in order to supply, order, distribute as quickly as possible. I can tell you Coupang maybe 10 years ago, well, not 10, 15 years ago, wouldn't have been able to develop the same thing because there were not all these softwares that can sort and distribute all the products according to the different customers and catalog them and use again this artificial intelligence and machine learning to really catalog all the products. Okay, very good. So now we have to think the threat of competitive entry. If I develop a certain product, is it gonna be copied very quickly? Is that gonna happen? So I have to think of that. Maybe if it's gonna be copied very quickly, I'd rather wait a little bit until the market is more developed and I enter the market later, right? We have to see the industry experiencing increased returns to adoption. So for example, I can see that this industry is booming. I need to go in. For example, this is the case of companies in the home fitness. So there is an increased adoption to do the home fitness. People starting to avoid going to gyms and they are just trying to do things at home. And this is where companies can say, well, what can I do with that? And that's the case of Peloton company that this bicycles at home. This company has been growing exponentially, right? If I'm gonna be an early mover, can the firm withstand early losses? Can I be 2, 3, 4 years without making much profit or losses? So big companies can do it. Small companies, they may not have the resources to wait so much for that, and maybe the innovation is good, the product is great, but they are not able to carry on, right? And likely the firm's reputation, number 8 and number 9, they will go very well together. Resources to accelerate the market acceptance, and the resources I have. Do I have a big brand name? When you say, well, my product is developed by Samsung, what the consumer says, well, if it's Samsung, I'll buy it. This is a synonym of quality, so I don't have problem with buying it. And Samsung will make sure that there's an advertising of it on every single corner. So even if you don't want to buy it, you'll see advertised everywhere. And at some point of time, we'll say like, oh, I think I need the Samsung Galaxy Flex. even if you don't need it. You don't need phone folding, but in the end they will push through their power and brand recognition for you to purchase it, right? There's also marketing. So very good. So with that, we finish already unit number 3. Hopefully it's good. Again, if the audio is not really loud, please let me know, because to me it sounds alright, but to some of you it doesn't, and that makes an issue. Okay, thank you so much. Stay safe and have a good time. I don't know if it's a weekend when you're watching this, but for me it's almost weekend. Okay, so anyways, have a good weekend. Bye bye.